Deep Dive with David Stendahl, where we trade without ego, no emotion, no greed, and no opinion. Before we begin tonight's video blog, please read over our trading disclaimer and remember to trade smart and accept the reality that trading futures is risky. This presentation does not provide buy-sell recommendations, and our information is strictly provided for educational purposes only. As always, trade at your own risk and analysis. Hey, it's David Stendahl with tonight's Deep Dive. Tonight is October 18th, 2018. We're going to look at natural gas. The ETF in this case is UNG. Now we have a trend that is pointing to the upside despite the massive sell-off that we had today. Massive on a relative basis, but short, intermediate, and long-term trends are all pointing to the upside. The technical rating is still pointing to the upside because of the volatile surge that we're in the midst of right now. But it's the seasonal downward trend that we're going to see here. This is projecting out, and why it is that we're going to be talking about natural gas. I'll go through some of the deep dive patterns here where natural gas on a weekly bar, these are weekly bars, we had a profit taking that took place today, and 2 weekly bars ago we also had a day's high looking for a reversal. So let's go ahead and take a look at the market itself, and we'll get a feel for what took place. Here's the sell-off. It ran into some resistance today. That number as far as resistance is 3.334. That's what that resistance is. But on a daily bar basis, you can see that there's been a nice surge, a little retracement, another surge, ran into a bit of a hiccup here when it came to the resistance, and with today's action it sold off. Now the way that we're looking at this is that our systems went short today on this particular bar, and we can easily see the market starting to sell off a little bit further. I'm going to look at the seasonal tendencies and give you an idea as to when that should be taking place, but do expect extreme volatility in this particular market. There's a reason we call it the Widowmaker. So when we take a look at back to the website, let's take a look at the seasonal tendencies. You can see that right now natural gas is accurately following its tendencies. It's the top and the number 3 as far as the top 10, so it is highly accurate at the present time. If we take a look at 2 different charts, I'll start off here with the 5-year charts. The black line represents this year, the blue line represents, in this case, the 5-year chart. You can see that we're at a point where the market is typically pretty toppy. It's actually the 19th that we actually start to see this toppiness and then sell off here, but for all intents and purposes we're pretty close to that top. The 10-year charts basically show the same thing, where the market has this surge, which we did have. This particular chart is from the 17th, so it's not reflecting this day's action. We'll update these charts this evening, but we are at a point again around the 19th or so that the market starts to top out and starts to sell off. And so our systems actually went short today, and we're taking advantage of the timing of the 240 and the 90-minute bar systems, both of which are trend-based, that we're looking for a toppiness to the market, and hopefully there's going to be a continued sell-off per the seasonal tendencies to the market. So we'll see how things kind of play out here. I'm just going to simply come back to the chart itself, and just, you saw this resistance we had here on a daily bar basis. We're also seeing this on weekly bars. These are weekly bars that we're seeing through here, and this is the major resistance that we're up against. So what will most likely happen is if the market is able to sell off over the course of the next, say, 10 days or so, obviously there'll be some choppiness to it. There's always an opportunity that we could probably have a breakthrough again, but there's still the opportunity for some good money to be made on the short side on a short-term basis. Now, Darren Newsom and myself, we put together a newsletter, and we talk about natural gas here and some of the seasonal opportunities that we look for. One is October 19th through the 29th, a 10-day period, which is essentially this type of a sell-off that I was referring to. We're not there yet, but we're very close to it. And then there's another one that will occur here in mid-November, short-term as it is, but we'll be looking for opportunities with this surge and another sell-off. So just realize that there's opportunity. And I love the terminology that Darren and others have used, the Widowmaker, because it is a very volatile market. not for the faint of heart, and can have some wild swings, especially now because there's also weather-related type things that can influence natural gas. But there are opportunities, and with our systems the way that they're set up right now, we're looking at this to take advantage of this on the short-term basis with the systems that have gone short. Now, I mentioned the newsletter that Darren and I had created. So if you're interested in that, we put out a quarterly newsletter. All you need to do, it's free of charge, just come to membership, down to seasonal newsletter, and you'll be presented with a page like this. This is the fall newsletter in brown, and then we'll have another newsletter here in January 1st, well, in blue for winter, and you just simply fill in your information, and we will send you, if you want newsletters into the future, or if you want to get at least this copy where it's fairly substantial. I'll just come back to here real quick, where I think it's around 10 pages or so. I know this is hard to read, but there's a fair amount that we go into with the newsletter itself and going through all the different markets. So here's the January one that will come out in, for winter here, but there's still other things that you could be looking at. So if you're interested, please download that particular newsletter. And then the final thing that I'll end here with is that I've added more new, webinars to this list. There'll be even more coming up here in the next couple of days. Typically, I'm going to try to do a webinar every Wednesday. Depending upon travel and other events that I have to do, sometimes we'll push it a little bit. But typically on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Eastern Daylight Time, that's when I'll be doing webinars where we'll be talking about different types of tendencies to the market, whether it's the seasonals, the pro alerts, looking at the personality of the markets, the grading of the markets. There's a whole slew of things. And if this little blue dot here represents something that will give you a little more of a write-up as to what it is that we're going to be talking about. So if you're interested, just simply come to same area basically for the newsletter. Come to membership, upcoming webinars. You can sign up for those things, or again, you can pull up our seasonal newsletter or even our seasonal cheat sheet, which will give you an idea as to what's taking place with a lot of the markets. But for now, natural gas up against resistance, volatile swing to the downside. We're short the market, and we got our fingers crossed trading the Widowmaker. We'll see how things kind of play out from there. If you have any questions, you can always just contact us, and we can look at other markets that you might have some interest in. So thanks for watching, and we'll look at some more markets soon. Bye-bye.